I know I've said before that I usually don't watch anime as they're coming out, but I'd like to think I've done a much better job of it this year. There's the anime where a man fights monsters and levels up all by himself. And then there's the anime where a villain would rather go to the zoo to see the pandas rather than actually taking over the world. And then there's the anime where a guy tries to help a bunch of rejected girls. That one's only okay. But the best anime I've seen all year definitely has to go to, I'd still say probably Mr. Villain's Day Off. WindBreaker's pretty awesome too. A series about delinquents, fights, brotherhood, growing vegetables. Really? Vegetables? Okay. This is WindBreaker. We start off our story in the beginning with our main character, Haruka Sakura. Sakura's a pretty interesting character. He seems very lost and lonely because of the treatment he's received and because of how he's looked. He doesn't have a lot of friends, and he's grown very bitter and isolated because of it. We get a lot of flashbacks with some of the stuff he went through, and while not a lot of it is fully in detail, it does a really good job of showing just how sad and scared he can be at times, and why he's so aggressive towards other people. And that's why he wants to join the school of Furin, to take the #1 spot at school. That being said, Sakura's not completely heartless. He sees a girl being harassed and saves her from a lot of bullies, the girl by the name of Kotoha. Kotoha thanks Sakura for saving her, but Sakura isn't too keen on accepting it. He lets her know that he wasn't interested in saving her, but he was interested in taking out the guys who were bothering her. That's right, we have a tsundere on our hands.
I only took him out because I couldn't stand him, not because I was trying to save you, so don't go getting the wrong idea, okay?
Huh?
Oh boy. Yeah, you guys have known for a while, but I am not the biggest fan of tsunderes. I don't appreciate how they are angry and mean to other characters, yet always seem to get what they want, and always seem to end up with the guy in the end. How does that keep happening? But Sakura is actually very refreshing. While sometimes he does pull the tsundere card, it never feels like a gimmick. It never feels overbearing. There are times where he actually uses it as a defense mechanism, that he wants to reach out and be friendlier with other people, but with everything he's been through, it's just not that easy. He comes off more like a nervous wreck at times than he does a bully, and I have to admire that the show really did their best to make him likable. Later in the episode, he has to fight off more delinquents who came after him when he's saved by his new classmates. Despite the town being known as Furin, Kotoha lets Sakura know that these students are the Bofurin, a group of delinquents who stick together and protect the town. Very different from what Sakura was expecting. It's so interesting because in situations like this, an anime would have the main character be shunned even if they're trying to help the local townspeople. But we get a reverse of that. Sakura's classmates and the townspeople are all very nice to him, which makes him breaking down into his more tsundere tendencies all the more hilarious and kind of adorable at times. Kotoha reassures Sakura that they're willing to accept him and they can all be friends. Sakura doesn't accept initially, but you can tell that he really wants to. But before he heads to class on his first day, he meets up with his new classmate, Nire. Nire is a nice guy, but very cowardly at times. Not much of a fighter, but his dedication and loyalty to the people he cares about earns Sakura's affection. It's cool because you can tell that he's the first classmate that Sakura openly admits that he has a soft spot for. We also learn that Kotoha runs a cafe in the middle of the city. She doesn't seem to have a whole lot of help, but she seems like she's doing a good job. She keeps everybody fed. And we also learn that Kotoha and her teasing of Sakura is kind of hilarious. Seriously, she hasn't done as much as other side characters could have done in situations like this, but I could not stop laughing at some of the times where she would openly tease Sakura. It's kind of adorable.
It's only 10 o'clock. Look how pumped you are!
For your information, I felt like walking around!
Yeah? If you were excited, that's fine. There's tons of interesting guys over at the school.
Like I already said, that's not what's going on here!
Sakura and Nire finally get to class, and they meet some of their classmates, most notably Leonardo DiCaprio. No, his name is actually Suo. Suo is kind of an oddball. He seems like a gentleman who's kind to other people, but he's also a bit of a prankster who likes to tease the people around him, although never maliciously. Fun fact, his Japanese voice actor is the same person who voices Yuno in Black Clover, while his English voice actor is the same person who voices Asta in Black Clover. What are the odds? Along with Suo, we meet one of Sakura's newest rivals, Sugishita, a giant grunt who doesn't talk a whole lot but is fiercely loyal to the number one in the school. It's too bad, because I really like Sugishita, but we don't learn as much about him, but I'm willing to give that a pass for now considering how early it is. Speaking of the number one guy in the school, we hear him over the intercom, Umemiya, and for a leader of delinquents, you'd expect a badass, powerful, scary guy, and you realize Umemiya is absolutely nothing like that. Umemiya is one of the biggest oddballs in the show. He's friendly, he's weird, he laughs a lot, but he's also a very strong and wise leader who everybody looks up to. And Sakura notes just how fast it seems that everybody's willing to listen to him. He really starts the show off on a great note, and I understand why so many people grew to love him immediately, because I did too.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Sakura and Nire quickly learn about what it's like to be part of Bofurin. They take time to help other citizens, patrol the city, eat really nice looking food, which Suo, for some reason, never seems to eat. Wonder if that ever comes up later. But it's not all fun and games.
Suspicious.
Sometimes you have to fight people, something which Sakura seems very willing to do. They save a middle school student from the rival gang of the series, the Shishitoren. Unlike the Bofurin, who always seem to want to help people and do what's right, Shishitoren are a bunch of bullies who pick on people weaker than them and claim to be strong. This pisses off Sakura immensely, and he and Sugishita end up knocking out one of the members.
You got knocked the fuck out, man!
Even if Sakura and Sugishita don't really seem to get along, it's nice to see they both have a sense of justice and are willing to protect people even if they don't know them. I think that's part of what makes the show just so likable. Even with all of these characters having their quirks, they're all likable, nice enough people that you'd feel safe living in this town, knowing that Bofurin would be looking after you. But it's not a happy ending from there. The leaders of the rival gang, Choji,
Little baby man,
and Togame, challenge the Bofurin to a fight. Yep, we get 5 one-on-one fights over the course of several episodes. And this is the highlight of the show in my opinion. Everybody has their own time to shine. Everybody has their own motivations and fighting styles. And they all feel just different enough that it makes things interesting. Sugishita is just straight up power, destroying people left and right. Sakura's fighting style is very relentless, but at the same time you can understand everything he's gone through with each and every single one of his strikes and grabs. You really get a feeling that this guy has been through so much and you root for him with every fight. We see that Suo really grows to care about Sakura, and while he didn't care for the idea of Sakura wanting to take the number one spot at first, he grows to admire Sakura's stubbornness and deep down the feeling of he wants to protect the people who have started to give him a home. And this encourages Suo to want to get stronger alongside Sakura, before immediately proceeding to humiliate and shame his opponent in front of his own friends. Seriously, this is one of the best fights of the series just because we see the type of person that Suo is, and that he's a nice guy, but dear God, he is kind of twisted. You don't really feel bad for the guy, but his opponent couldn't have felt good after that fight. But a fight that I feel like kind of gets slept on is Hiragi versus Sako. At this point, we didn't know a whole lot about Hiragi besides the fact that he got stomach pain a lot. But there's a lot more to him than that. Him and Sako have history. When they were kids, Hiragi protected Sako from bullies and even helped him train. And when Hiragi graduated, Sako wanted to follow in his footsteps, but Hiragi told him that he was going to follow in Umemiya's footsteps instead, and that Sako should go about his own path. This felt like an immense betrayal to Sako and turned him into a bitter person, and you see that reflected in the fight. And the worst part is, you feel bad for Sako. Unlike the first two guys from Shishitoren, he actually has a motivation for wanting to be stronger. And in the end, when it seems like things are completely even, it turns out they're not. Hiragi was holding back, and he apologizes before proceeding to beat Sako down. It's one of the most real fights of the show, and you get the feeling that Hiragi did not want things to go this way. You end up learning a lot about Hiragi through this fight, and it really just cements him as one of the more interesting characters, even if at times it feels like he does get put into the background.
Hands in pockets!
Sakura and Togame, alongside Umemiya and Choji, really just feel like battles where they're all trying to understand each other, particularly Sakura and Togame, because you see how similar they are. They were both accepted into groups, and in some cases, while Sakura will always fight for what he feels like is right, Togame feels indebted to Choji and will let him run rampant, while Sakura has fully said that no matter who has saved him in the past, no matter what he owes someone, he won't let that person turn to darkness. It really just shows how cool Sakura is and the type of person he is, and it's a really engaging fight. Even if, in all honesty, the wrong person probably won, but it's just a minor quibble. The gangs come to an understanding and they all become friends, sort of. That's usually what happens when people punch each other enough, right? But those aren't the only characters we have. We also have Sugera. Yeah, the guy who's always lifting weights or working out in the background. He has a loud energy to him, but he's also very courteous when he realizes that he's messed up. He ended up becoming one of my favorite characters in the series, and of course, his favorite style of fighting is wrestling moves. German suplexes and clothesline. You know, WWE doesn't seem to want to bring back Brock Lesnar. Just sign this guy instead. He does the German suplex perfectly. Alongside him, we meet Kiryu, who uses the gentle fist to fight. I still don't. Okay, works for me. Now, I love all the characters in this show, but Kiryu's probably my least favorite. Nothing bad about him, he just hasn't grabbed me yet like he's grabbed a couple of other fans. Still, I like his style, he's pretty funny, and he also does his best to be nice to Sakura when he realizes that the only contact in Sakura's phone is the weather.
There's only one contact. Weather? What? Get off. I expect a daily forecast from now on.
Yeah, that's sad even by my standards. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the next arc because the anime hasn't come back yet, but they do a good job of setting it up for the next season, which usually is a bad thing, but considering Season 2 was already announced and even a video game, I'm okay with it, as long as they happen, which they should. So overall, what makes WindBreaker so great? Its characters, its story, its action? Yes, each character has their moments to shine, and they all feel likable. The action is really well done, even in the opening theme song it looks good, and you get a sense that no matter what you get, even if you can predict it, it's still going to be entertaining. And I have to give Sakura in particular some credit. Like I said, I'm really not a fan of tsundere characters, but Sakura makes it different. It really does feel like a defense mechanism. He lets his guard down more and more as the series progresses, and the show isn't really above making fun of him. It never feels harsh, it never feels mean-spirited. When they make fun of him for having very few contacts in his phone, it's not malicious, they just make fun of him like friends would. It really just makes him feel more like a three-dimensional person, and the fact that everybody is getting along with him, it's awesome, and from what I've heard, he only gets better, so that makes things all the better. So please, give WindBreaker a chance, coming from somebody who hates tsunderes, but loves Sakura. So get some omurice, be ready to step into adulthood, and remember, anyone past this point who causes pain, who brings destruction, who holds evil in their heart, will be purged by Bofurin without exception. But what do you guys think? Was WindBreaker awesome? Your anime of the year? Was it better than Tokyo Revengers? I really don't know. I still need to catch up with Tokyo Revengers, but let us know. Let me know how you feel about this. Thanks for putting down Sparking Zero to listen to this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.